I'm just gonna start with what I see on my timeline the most. When Hulk Hogan came out, what was your reaction?
Brother, get this guy out of here. He stinks. Insert meme. Get him out of here, bro. No shot.
Are
And
you
then he's only
surprised?
there. He's
Are
only
you
there
su-
to cut a promo anyways, but it's like the worst. It was the worst like promo, like
Can we
all
call it that?
American beer. Like,
Can we call it that?
I mean, yes, you just put it on a shirt. It'd probably sell inside the arena, no bullshit. People would buy it. Worst American beer promo, like
Were you
the promo
surprised
was
that the
made.
audience booed him?
No, no. I mean, it's Hulk Hogan. Like that man flip flops. I mean, he jumps in and out of pockets like he'd change his clothes in the morning. So, not at all. Not even a little bit. I'm
Okay,
honestly surprised they had him out there trying to move because, bro, he like you can tell wrestling has done him no favors, and I don't mean that in the aspect of like the fact that he they wouldn't do anything for him later on, but just the fact that like his body is so broken down, bro. I was talking about it when we were watching it, like that man is trying to do the
the arms and shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the leg, his arm can barely go like to his head. His knee won't bend anymore, so he's just like stiff legging it, and he's like barely trying to turn around without losing his fucking equilibrium and balance and falling over on the stage. It's like it's too much. You know what I mean?
but just with him in general, like obviously the leg drop move is very damaging to your body after a while. Like I would
Oh
never.
yeah, bro, your back is toast. Your back is like super toast.
Emily, like from the era that he wrestled in, niggas was known for dying in their 30s. So
No,
him making it
legitimately.
this long
But
is kind of a
that
medical
was I
miracle,
was
though.
more like I wouldn't just say it was that. I would say it was also roids back then. It was a lot of stuff, right? It wasn't just like the wrestling that was killing them. It was the drugs, the partying, the roids. Everything was more hardcore back then. They had to do way more to themselves to be something outlandish because the average working man back then, you're talking about people who were in like coal mines, bro, steel mills. Like, they were working at like paper factories. Like seeing somebody get mutilated was a part of the daily routine wherever you were. You know what I mean? Nowadays, when something happens at work, they're like, "Oh, go get the safety kit or notify the hazmat manager." You know what I'm saying? Back in their day, there was none of that. Bro, if acid hit your face, they'd be like, "Okay, drive yourself to the hospital." You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? Like, hey, get in the truck. You know what I mean? Get up there, get checked out. When you
But I'm
come,
saying that's why I'm saying him even being alive at this point is impressive.
yeah, true.
Because
But
I'm
you also
surprised,
could
yeah.
say you could also say he was of his era, right? Of wrestlers era, he was one of the most taken care of at a point in time.
Oh yeah, for
Because
sure.
he
Like
was,
bigger than life, yeah.
yeah, he made. I mean, even from the cut ups on the McMahon shit, right? Like he changed the way people thought about wrestling on a fundamental level across the world. Like we're not just talking about the United States.
The
We're talking about
world, Craig.
Japan. We're talking about Mexico. All these places, bro, changed their outlook, right? Everything like before we had heroes and heels, right? But everything turned into the hero versus heels going forward. Like everything.
And also, like we only had like a handful like faces of the company. He for sure had the longest reign as the face
No,
of
absolutely.
so like
100%.
that is crazy. And
As a
so
singular person, yes. I would say because you can't even like if you go into the attitude era, right? You can't talk
Stone
about
Cold would be the face.
yeah, but you can't talk about Stone Cold without talking about The Rock, without talking about Triple H, without
You're
talking about
saying Hulk, there was not a close second to him.
yeah. There's not a close second because whenever you look across the rest of the eras of wrestling, I'm talking about from like let's say like 1990, right? Let's say from 90 to 2010. When you think of one person, you think of their matches with every single like the people they were paired with, right? Like like he always said in the documentary, your hero is only as good as your villain. If the villain is trash, nobody cares about the hero's storyline. You know what I mean? But the more evil, the more psychotic and outrageous the villain, the better the climb of the hero. Which is what made like The Rock and Stone Cold so polarizing to so many people, because no matter how you looked at it, they were both good guys and bad guys. You know what I mean? The Rock played a bad guy role. He played the heel, but he was also the people's champ. You know what I mean? So you wanted to root for the dude because you're like, oh shit, like he's so sick. He was talking slick on the mic. He had the charisma, the crowd, right? But then Stone Cold comes in and he's the fucking I don't give a shit, the badass, the I'm gonna do what I want to, I'm gonna say what I want. Oh, you don't like this? Well, this is what I like. So if you don't like it, well, you know what I mean?
So yeah, when you contextualize it now, I'm thinking about it like the generation that Hogan was in, he really didn't have much competition. Like in that aspect, like compared
bro,
to
his one, what did they say on the show? Yeah. His one,
what we talking like?
His one big fight was him and Andre. Yeah. And they had to pull Andre out of fucking retirement. Andre at the time already, at that time, could barely move. Like, I don't know if you remember the documentary.
Yeah, because he was in Hollywood, yeah.
Bro, he was talking about how he had already like transitioned out, like he was going to do movies and shit. His body was breaking down on him. And I mean, even being at that size, right? You can only imagine the decline once he left wrestling was swift. You know what I mean? It's like throwing a boulder down a mountain. Like that's just rolling continuously from all the hits he took. Because they made him do crazy shit. You know what I mean? You're Andre the Giant. Like you can take this. So it's like I can only imagine how bad his body was and how decrepit he felt. And then to have him come back solely for the aspect of playing into Hogan's hero is like, it just elevated Hogan to a whole nother stratosphere. He was already up there, but then, you know what I mean? Bro,
you're saying exactly how big. I feel like most of the population still, at least I thought, view Hogan in that same light. I think people who are chronically online know how Hogan gets down, and they would boo. I didn't expect like most of the arena to be booing the nigga. Like I'm thinking, like
but you're also in California, bro. What you expect? We don't roll like that here. You know what I mean?
The niggas cheered Undertaker.
That's true, but I mean that's Undertaker, bro. Everybody get down with Undertaker. You know what I mean?
Everybody he ain't that far off. Now Hogan did crazier shit, but he ain't that far off. The same shit came out about the Undertaker, him doing the similar shit. I wouldn't be surprised, bro. Like that's huh? Undertaker's super MAGA, so I'm like, if he was to some shit come out about him doing some racist things or having some statements, I wouldn't be too surprised. I'm to get it. We're in LA, bro, so they're very liberal.
He's too close with like Mark Henry and them. Like even with the MAGA shit, right? He's too close with Mark Henry and them to be on like some extra racist shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He might be on some borderline shit where he might say some shit that toes the line a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he kind of cracks the door open, but it ain't like a full-on fucking SWAT fucking invasion like Hogan is. You know what I'm saying? Like
it is a stark difference. Yeah,
that's not only that, but you're never gonna find nothing on Undertaker that's fucking televised. Like that's what fucked Hogan from the get-go, was the fact that
something would have came out about
it. Yeah. You said these things. Not only did you say this shit, but you said it on television, bro. He said it when he what the fuck was his show? They were on that show.
We talking about his reality show?
Yeah, bro.
Hogan Knows Best.
Hogan Knows Best. Yeah. When he broke down his daughter, bro. I was like, no shot.
But I think that the company of WWE thought it would be a better reception, because optic wise it does not look good for a nigga who's a bigger sponsor to be booed like that. That was not the intended purpose, bro.
What did Vince McMahon say? He said heat levels sell, right? He said heat levels sell, right? Hey, bring out the heat. Bring it out. Oh yeah, I like that. They booing you. Hey, that means you got the heat. Bring his ass back. That's right.
Now I
He
don't
made a
know.
living off it.
Now for the episode in general, I don't know when's the last time you watched like an episode of Monday Night Raw or
But
somebody
I
who
haven't watched
has.
Raw, and it has literally been, I want to say, at least since 2000, and I would say like 8 or 9 since I watched a full
So at
length.
least 15 years.
Yeah,
At
at least
least.
15 years. At least 15 years.
So what is your reaction to watching it after that time? Like what has
Mm,
changed? Has it been good? What are the good and bad changes that you've noticed?
okay, you want my full on, like, okay,
Yeah,
I'll go
yeah.
section by section.
You
All
do
right.
good and bad, yeah.
Okay, so good. I would say that the presentation is at an all-time high. I think that have the way that they have reintroduced classic storylines, or the way that they are pushing characters, has evolved in a way that it's a lot more seamless than it was back in the day. It's a lot easier to digest. Like, you don't need to be like, as someone who hasn't watched in 15 years, right? I don't
Are you
need to
referring to
watch.
like the flashbacks that they'll do
Yeah,
to like
like
catch
that's
you up
just,
to speed? Okay.
yeah. So it's not just like I watched last week's episode, right? So for me to be able, as a fresh eyes, to watch an episode and feel like I can pick up and I kind of feel the beef between people, even though I haven't been watching the last 10, 12, 15 years, feels like you're doing your damn job as writers. Feels like the dialogue is going in a direction to where it's easy to follow, it's easy to digest. You clearly have a feel for who you want to be right, who you don't care for, or you don't mind that they're wrong. And it was genuinely very smooth. Like, it was very, very smooth. I said it from the intro. You heard me. I'm like, damn, this intro is kind of marvelous. Like, I'm fucking with these graphics. I like the presentation. Triple H on the mic to start the event out to get you a little hyped up, right? Because he's not only is he the main guy now, but
the
you got that classic feel.
the government mandated Triple H intro.
Yeah. You
Yes.
got that classic
Yeah.
feel, right? Like, he's doing his best Vince McMahon impersonation in terms of like being the first face when you turn on the show. This is who you
Yeah.
see. This who
He's called
introduces you.
this. He's called this the Triple H era. So yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not mad
I
at
get
it.
it.
Like,
I get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody's gonna push the boundaries and give us truly good, like good to great wrestling again, the man that learned at the feet of someone else, that gave us pivotal years in wrestling history, is a good man to turn to. You know what I mean? He's a good man to turn to. Now, you can say what you want about Vince off or like outside the ring. That's a completely different animal and like a horrible human being and person. But when
Yeah.
it came to the wrestling side, he provided
Nigga.
us some of the craziest entertainment, bro.
He was a genius. Yes. Genius.
Yeah. He was literally, he thought so far outside of the box that he was light years ahead of anybody chasing him.
Now he
And
went
this,
out in like an Al Davis
yes,
fashion with his
yeah.
decisions that he was
No,
making.
1000%.
Even
Yeah,
before the
1000%.
outside shit, the way his TV was looking, there was a lot of
Yeah,
complaints about his decisions. They're like, bro, like, come on.
yeah.
But in his
He
prime,
held
though,
on. He
yes,
obviously held on to the reins too long, right? He didn't want to pass it off. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to take a back seat in terms of something he built. But I don't even get mad at him for that, because if you think about it, right? And exactly, you compared him to Al Davis, right?
yeah, he could
Davis
be him
started
and
on
Jerry
a
Jones.
lot, bro. They're so fucking similar. It's kind of crazy, because Davis was giving shots to people who nobody else wanted, right? In African American and minority players. He gave coaching staff slots to those people that then changed the game, right? Now all of a sudden we're looking at O-line coach, D-line coaches. You don't have to be white. You don't have to be Italian no more. You don't have to have like German roots in like wrestling championships and shit. Like, we can go out and get ex-players that did it at a high level and then turn them into great coaches. Like, we can then teach from this tree. We can take people that are more respected among their peers. Because you give me a 60-year-old white dude who's screaming at me, telling me what to do, and I don't fucking understand that shit. You know what I mean? It don't faze me. Like, okay, you're yelling, great. Now you insert fucking Ray Lewis into the same situation, and he's like, "Hey, look, you ain't got your head on straight. You're not studying film the right way. You're not going about your business the right way. You're not taking care of your body the way you should." All of a sudden, the narrative shifts, right? You go from being a coach and a disciplinarian to an actual fucking advisor, right? To an actual a mentor. The roles just completely switch.
And
It's
then
the same
okay,
thing
and
with
then
Triple
also
H.
when you're like a trailblazer, like or like a maverick, like we
Yeah.
said, Al Davis
Yeah.
and Mr. McMahon, you've been right on so many crazy things.
Bro,
When
not
people
just
try to
crazy.
advise you different, you're like, nah, y'all been telling me not to do this.
No,
So
yeah,
I'm gonna stay
exactly.
doing.
Not just that, right? You got to think
Obviously.
about the shit that they were right about was light years beyond anything that people around them could comprehend, right? And not only was I right about it, but I was so right. My business is a beyond successful, right? We're little kids. When I go out to eat food with my family, or I go out to eat with my wife at a fucking Denny's, or we go to a steakhouse that's $300 a plate, there might be a little kid sitting in the corner that's playing with WWF wrestlers, right? He might have on a fucking Stone Cold t-shirt. Somebody might be having a D-Generation X pin on their jacket or their fucking backpack. Like, you know what I mean? Someone could have socks on that say Nature Boy on them, bro. Like literally, they pushed so much in their own direction that people have tried to mimic them for years. I.e. Jerry Jones, right? All he does is try to mimic what Al Davis does, but he's never hit. He tried it with Romo, it didn't work. He tried it with Dak, it didn't work. He tried it with CeeDee Lamb, it didn't work. He tried it with Zeke, it worked for a little bit, but it ain't worked since. Like,
and then
how much?
Then
you know what I
like
mean?
since I've been a lot, like he's caught a lot of critique, but seeing his run in the '90s, I get why he's like that. I completely understand, and like you can't really fault a nigga like that much. It's hard to give up the reins after you've done some incredible shit to that level. Like,
and they're all in that boat, right? You have him with Emmett, you have him with you got Emmett, you got Michael Irvin, you got Aikman and them, right? Then you add in Larry Allen and some of the other people that he had, right? Dez, Tony Romo, Jason Witten, DeMarcus Lawrence. Like he had hits over the years, right? Hits over the years. Then you go to Al Davis, right? Everybody that he picked up, bro, from what was the old dude they used to call crazy? Laszlo.
What position?
He was like a DN / linebacker, just like back in the early 80s. Yeah, Lonzo or Laszlo. They called him a legit psychopath. And Al Davis was like, that's fine. Everybody needs one crazy person on their team. And literally turn that motherfucker into a stud and a stalwart on defense. You know what I mean?
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Brother,
all these mantras, you know what's up.
Yeah,
he all that good shit. Come on, bro.
He legitimately changed the way that people looked at the game, right? Now we're not just taking everybody that's a blue collar player or that has all these steady game stats. Now we're reaching for dudes who have high athletic ability with projected upside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this be the and obviously like throughout the end of his run, he was criticized because like, bro, you only looking at 40 times. But I'm like, bro, as a nigga who would play Madden, the Raiders are always cheating because we have the most 90 speed players. Like, why the fuck is everybody this fast?
It was crazy. At every position, bro.
Like Mike Mitchell was a second round pick. And he was like, what the fuck are y'all doing? But nigga, he fast as fuck. You ain't never seen a safety this fast.
Yeah.
But
you had
but you know it's that when you're at the end of your tenure, you can kind of catch on to the patterns that these niggas like. Because if I compare it to Vince McMahon, he likes a certain body type with his people that he puts as the face of the company. They have to have that certain look.
Yeah.
And like this rest of shit, sometimes you get the force feeding and the fans reject it. Like Roman has been the face of WWE for like the past 5 years, right? But the entire 2010s, Vince was trying to force Roman on the crowd, and people just kept rejecting it.
Yeah.
He had the vision, he just was not able to execute. So I'm like, his mind is still sharp in certain aspects. It just don't always It's all it doesn't work out because something is
Oh
off,
yeah,
like
bro.
something
It's
with
just
his
like
judgment's
them.
off. But you still got the mind for like Jerry. He probably still got the mind. He got mind for like a lot of shit. He's not just dumb. He didn't lose his knowledge, but you just don't want to take advice from nobody else. You're just
Bro,
stuck in
it's
your
just like
ways.
when you hit that many home runs, right? How do you tell yourself to just put down the bat, right? Like sooner, if I know that every fucking curveball, every curveball you throw at me, I've hit a home run on my whole career, from little league to major league, right?
And I just said,
And
Brandon, niggas who've never hit a home run or telling
yes,
me what to do, you will go
yes, yeah.
insane. You know you will go insane. Like,
Not only
no,
that,
bro.
your batting average has never been above 200, bro, and you're yelling at me, telling me not to swing. But I know in my heart that eventually someone's gonna throw me a curveball, and I'm gonna hit that fucking 901. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go up. What you
So
need?
I mean, like
I'll get
Triple
it for you.
H don't. I hope he don't end up like this, like what we
Give me 1
describing.
second. Give me 1 second. Oh, I got it, babe. Oh, Joseph. Here, fella. Yeah,
So
it's
I'm saying, I hope he don't have the same demise. But like
no,
you
I
said,
don't think he will.
all
I
right.
think because with Triple H, I don't see it following that way because one, he had to watch it firsthand with Vince, right? So first and foremost, like he's automatically thinking of that in the back of his mind. But now his game plan has also altered because of the way I think that Vince went out and all the stuff that happened, everything that came out afterwards. I think he's so focused on rebuilding the brand in a bigger and better direction. I mean, bro, they're on Netflix. Like, we just had our first Netflix live wrestling event, which, like, if you'd have told 13, 14-year-old me that fucking 16 years from now, 18 years from now, we're going to have wrestling on our phones and we can just walk around and watch it anywhere I'm at, right? I don't got to be at home at 5 o'clock to eat dinner and turn on the fucking TV. I could go party with my friends or whatever the fuck I'm into, or be at a restaurant or something, flip my shit on and not miss a moment of it. Like, bro, it's wild. And he accomplished
Yeah,
that
I'm
all
surprised
on the
though.
backs of all the stuff they did.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I didn't notice how popular this shit was, like throughout like the 2010s. Like, I guess that
Mm.
was like they low spell, and like a little bit after the pandemic is when I noticed the popularity increasing a lot. I'm just like, well, let me see what's going on, and seeing like a lot of the choices they've been making, and I guess you could say the presence of AEW helped it,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was very necessary because I blame WCW being out of business as a big reason why, in the end, WWE started to fall off a lot. You needed
No,
competition.
1000%, bro. Exactly.
After that, that's another reason why Vince was like that. WCW almost put WWE out of business,
No, yeah.
and
Eric
they
Bischoff,
overcame that shit. And
Eric Bischoff literally had this full on the ropes to the point where he was calling Vince to try to buy the company from Vince. And then Vince was like, no, I'm gonna make you eat your own words. He's like, give me 3 years. And they killed him off in 3 years, bro. He was like fucking Moses telling people, I'm gonna part the sea. They was like, nah,
and
we don't
absorbed
believe you.
everything.
Yes, bro.
WWE Studios did the Who Killed WCW documentary. Like, this is so
Bro.
crazy. So like, yeah, Triple H has been doing a great job, but like also just the presence of the AEW.
Yes,
It's
AEW
influenced.
is
Yes,
necessary 1000%. Because if you don't have that extra league that's going all out, right? Then
no
like,
pun intended.
yeah, no pun intended. But if you don't have that extra league that's taking it to the nth degree, right? And pushing people up, you don't have like a pipeline. You know what I mean? Imagine for instance, we both love football. Imagine if there was no college football. So all you had on TV was the NFL, right? Then every year when a new guy came in or a rookie, you'd be like, well, where the fuck did this dude come from? You wouldn't have no hype. There'd be no hype to Kyler Murray. There'd be no hype to fucking to Saquon Barkley's, to the Marvin Harrison Juniors, to the Odell Beckhams. None of that shit would exist because they would just be a guy on a team and you'd be like, oh, that dude made a good catch. you wouldn't have none of this precursor, prelude story buildup to what turns them into heroes and villains in the league. You need that. It's absolutely pivotal. Even back in the early 2000s, the late 90s, early 2000s, right? AEW had Van Dam, they had Taz, they had hella people, bro. And you would literally flip channel to channel going through wrestling programs. AEW would
that
stop
was
you
funny.
in your tracks,
That's
bro.
funny because ECW and WCW ended up being absorbed by WWE. So
Yep. And he got both
that
of
is
them.
just like hilarious. But like that's why I know people get very tribalistic online about WWE and AEW, but the AEW needs to be successful to keep this trajectory of WWE going. Because you say like the good thing, the presentation is better than it's ever been before. Is there anything else besides like the presentation that would
Oh,
stick out to you?
women's division. Women's division as at an all-time
Oh
high.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm mad that
I
I
don't
missed the
think
women's revolution, like
yes,
in the
in the
2010s.
history of wrestling, and I'm not just saying this from a visual aspect as a male, that women have never been as athletic as they are right now in wrestling. They've never been as talented on the microphones. The storylines are fucking heat. You have like the back and forth between so many of the big stars, and it's so crazy because I think obviously like Rhea and them, and like you got like you have Rhea and them at the very top, right? But there are so many women that are like nipping at her heels in terms of like what they bring to the table that it's like outrageous that
Yeah,
we get
like
so it's crazy we
I
get
would
so
have
little
never,
women's matches, bro.
dude. Like
Like
when
literally.
I was a kid, like obviously we know like they wasn't getting no time. Just
Yeah,
to
no, not like that.
even to add context, because there were a handful of women wrestlers who could hoop. You just would never know. And
Yeah.
there were a
Yeah.
couple stories where, like, I think one included, I think it was like Michelle McCool and Melina. Obviously, the women they didn't have much time for their matches either. So
Yeah.
it was like a 7-man match. They was doing some crazy shit one time. They got yelled at after the match by Vince because they did too good. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
bro.
don't try to show them. I'm like, so not only is like being objectified, like there's treated as sexual objects, but you don't get much time to do it. And then when you do get the time, you can't
No,
do too
no,
much and
when you do
upstage
it,
nobody.
when you're too good at your job, you get yelled at like, hey yo,
Tone that
no,
down.
no, 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 no. We told you to throw boxes, you're throwing too many. Slow down, you're making us look bad. That's what it was. And
Like,
it's
bro,
crazy
that's
that's
crazy.
literally it's crazy that was literally the thought process because at that time, right, he only wanted one solo star. Like he wanted one star to prop up the Hulk Hogan effect, and then he wanted people to put in front of him as dominoes to like slowly overcome and build up. But I think that's where he fucked up. That was his biggest downfalls, and um, in that process of trajectory, he never adjusted his formula. He kept his formula the same, and I think that's what cost him in the end. That's why they had that
I
lull.
think you could apply it to
Yeah,
a lot of
because
people.
people got bored of the shit because we've seen it for like 20 something plus
And
years,
also,
right?
I mentioned Roman, like, but before Roman, John Cena was the face for years. You
Yeah.
hear how much people love John Cena now. There were
Mm-hmm.
plenty of years where the most chant that you heard was "Let's go Cena." Cena sucks. They felt like
Mm-hmm.
John Cena was getting force fed. People were so done. And I look back at old shit during John Cena's prime. I didn't realize. You go back, he was getting booed a lot
Yeah,
during
bro.
his run. A
Yeah.
lot. Like he was not getting nearly the same
Bro, he
love
went through
as
so
like
many phases.
Shawn Michaels and shit, even though he
Yeah.
was the face of the franchise. And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, but y'all love this nigga now because this is last
Mm-hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all sad as him. I'm like, it's because of how he was presented. Like
Yeah,
Vince,
bro.
like he had the vision, like he knew John Cena was like that, but he couldn't find a way to make it organic.
Bro, what we just
Like,
talking about? You could be a great quarterback if you ain't got the proper coaching. The shit don't go right.
yes.
It don't. He had the prospects. He just
But
wasn't coaching
that
them
was
up
really
the
hard
right
because
way.
I see his trainer like, bro, y'all don't see what I see. Like, nah, like Roman, y'all say, I get why you think they're the face of the team. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you got something. You got something going. You just ain't gotta go about it right.
I think the women's division is at an all-time high. I think that they honestly, I think they should get more matches per fucking episode. We only got
Dude,
one match tonight. We only got
It's,
one.
dude, it's crazy because I be on wrestler Twitter. What you say is so funny because people be complaining all the time, like, we only get one match. Like women in the
Oh,
wrestling community, they be like, bro, what
yes.
the fuck? And they're
Yeah,
like, yeah, because dude,
yeah,
they have a tournament going on for the women's intercontinental championship. It's the inaugural title, like the
yeah.
mid card title for women,
Mm-hmm.
and the finals. They had the two women who were in the finals. They're just in the crowd. I'm like, y'all could have put them on the show, bro. Y'all could have cut out like two of them
Bro,
nostalgia
they could have had
segments
a
and put that
they
match,
could have
bro.
had a snippet promo, right? They could have did something in the crowd for like the house performance or whatever you want to call it. But the fact that the women are so talented currently and they're still getting limited time doesn't make no sense to me.
Like, dude, if you
This
had
is
told
your
me when I
time,
was
bro.
a
You
kid,
imagine, like, hear me out, Kobe. Imagine an all women's Royal Rumble.
no, they do have women's Royal.
Yeah, and then your period, right? Period after the Royal Rumble, right? The two left standing or the longest left standing, like you can go into next week's like fucking money match or money in the bank or whatever the hell you want to call it. Literally, bro, they could be not milking. I don't. That's a bad term to use. They could be tearing up wrestling as a whole by giving them more TV time and literally letting the people feast on these matches. Because right now you're basically getting drip fed, right? Like, hey, we want to keep you quiet, so we're gonna give you a little tidbit here.
So
Right
you
now
don't
you're
think
gonna get
this
a little
episode was
tidbit
a good
here and a
representation
little.
of that?
No, it was good. I mean, it was a damn good match. You put two
But you're
A
saying
players
it was
against each
just
other.
one. But I'm saying like,
Yeah,
yeah, like
you
if
could have
you
had at
were just
least
a
you
cat,
could have
casual
had.
just watching, you're like,
All right, so
yeah,
tell me,
this is it.
when Rock was talking, right? Rock had like a 20-minute fucking promo. Then there was another
They didn't
like,
say nothing. He didn't say nothing of
yeah,
importance. But
bro. Then
okay,
they had another 15 after him. Then there was like another 10. We wasted like 45 minutes. You could have squeezed in. You could have did Rock shit. You could have went into the
first
next
we
promo
didn't. We
quickly.
did not need that Hulk Hogan promo.
No, Hulk Hogan shit could have got cut. You got almost an hour right there.
And
Even
bro,
if you would have slimmed the promos down, you could have gave yourself 30 minutes. That's a
and,
whole nother
and
match and
dog, I
then some.
timed it from Triple H's intro to the Rock segment to Roman and Solo's entrance. It was 33 minutes. Cut
Why?
some of this shit out, bro.
Why,
Cut
bro?
this shit out, bro.
That
Come
shit
on.
could have been 15 minutes, bro. And then you could have had a whole nother match.
You have this long ass entrance for Travis Scott to bring out Jey Uso. I'm like, my nigga Travis ain't even got a mic. Just let Jay come out.
Yes.
Just let Jay come out, bro. Like, it's just that goofy shit. But if you had just told me as a kid that there would be a women's Royal Rumble, women's Elimination Chamber, women's War Games match, women's Money in the Bank, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of that shit is come to fruition, and a lot of the years they be having a better match of the two.
I heard.
Like,
Well, wasn't it Stephanie? I heard that originally it was Stephanie that started fighting for the women to have more of a role and everything going on. And obviously it's
that's true.
because of all the torment and shit that she suffered at the hands of like the mogul of the business, you know what I mean? The visionary, her father, putting women on the back burner. And then her having to sit through them having talented women on the roster, but not doing nothing with them, and then just slowly tailoring off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I said the women's revolution, it could took place in the 2010s. It's really got marked because they had a pay-per-view of all women. It was called Evolution. So
Mm.
that was really the marker. And then they just see them. They're just able to do matches. They're just treated like regular wrestlers. Like, there's only been one main event in WrestleMania with women. It was Bianca and Sasha Banks. That's the only one. Now
That's
women
crazy,
ain't
bro.
had a main event since then. But just the fact I would have never thought that was a possibility
Yeah,
as a
true.
kid. Like, you
As
main event WrestleMania, that's
but as
crazy.
someone who sees the women's division growing, right? You don't want that to be the only story that's told. Like, hey, 8 years ago they had this great women's match. Like, okay, now we're on year 16 and we still had that one great match, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's like them saying, hey, we hired one black coach back in 1946. Like, okay, bro, it's 2024. It's been 60 years. Give us another one. Like,
Yeah,
change the
and
business
here's
model.
the issue: like they're due for one, especially because it's 2 nights of Mania. They gonna have to give them one soon, like, because that does look kind of crazy, bro.
bro. It's
because it
wild.
sounds like damn, y'all only got one. Like the
How
women's
many how
revolution
many
been going
women
on
superstars? How many women superstars can you name right now that you would want to see
in a
in
main
a
event,
singles match, a doubles match, or like some sort of like triple header?
like in a main event of a Mania.
Of a main. I
Like
would
okay,
say probably like what, six,
that
maybe
like
eight.
main event where Rhea Ripley will get a main event. I think or somewhere. Her star power and her main
She
work is enough.
her star power is too much.
Bianca's already done it, so
Mhm.
obviously her. Charlotte Flair has not done it, but she's obviously like she's a four horsewoman, so she would be. Becky Lynch is a four horsewoman, so she would also be in that category. Bailey, a four horsewoman, she would be able to do it. So like, there's enough star power. All they need is just the right storyline with somebody else to do it. I don't
Bro,
know.
and there's no way you're telling me that we can't cook up a storyline to get this shit going. There ain't no way.
They be having it, but they just don't like like who was Rhea and Becky last year. They open Mania, which is fine because when you don't close the show, you want to open the show. But I'm like, y'all
Nah,
can
bro,
do
you want
more.
to close, bro. It's just
Yeah,
like them.
obviously you want to close, but like,
It's like
bro,
them OG. It's like them OG fucking the ciphers, right? You don't want to be the first dude on the cipher. You want to be the last dude because
but
those bars
dude,
are good.
last year was extraneous circumstances with The Rock. That speaking of which, what do you make of The Rock's presence as
Uh,
member of the TKO board and just
so,
his what he did today? You think he did anything worthwhile, worth mentioning?
no, I don't think he did anything worth mentioning today. I mean, but honestly, like this was more of a visual treat for him, right? Because if you take into context the fact that like if you take into context, right, he's was like the next main Samoan wrestler to elevate wrestling, right? And coming from watching his dad and them do the thing and be the only ones around and having like family trickled in and out of the ring to be the one that like then raises the fucking bar. Because let's not sugarcoat it, bro. He was one of, if not the um, top stars of that era, right? I would say that like I would say Generation X. I would say Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I would say The Rock are what
And
carried the attitude era.
and I'll go like some further beyond just I would say he's on the short list of most famous people on the planet.
Yes.
Like I
Also that,
can't
right?
name five more famous. Like
Yeah,
who
because
we talking about? Kim Jong Un, Trump. Like there's not many people more famous than
yeah,
The
bro.
Rock.
Like, and
There's not.
legitimately, he transitioned out of wrestling into film, and it wasn't horrible. Like you can make fun of like the fast movies, but that's not all he's ever done. Like he's had some slip ups here and there in terms of like film. Like I'll never forgive him for that fucking shitty Doom movie. But other than that, like he's done so many other films and they've been super successful. So it's not like he's ever really like truly floundered. You know what I mean? Like, bro, he's the a star in Disney movies. Like,
Yeah, he's a bum like. But
bro, he got
his
different. He got
his
different
presence though
motion.
today it was just like
No,
it
yes,
was very this was very annoying
today was
because
lackluster,
okay
but it,
okay like what he did like first of all last year's Mania it was
mm,
his ass that made that shit so messy and how they have to clean up how to fix
nah,
it. It was his
he getting
fault.
too he getting too old, bro. He can't be in the ring. Like you can be he could be an assist, right? Like Paul Heyman almost. But he as far as being like the main star, bro, there's no way you're not telling me his body ain't blown up. You know what I mean? Because even from the gym and everything, yeah, he still keeps it together. It looks presentable and nice. But at the same time, bro, this man took chair shots like no tomorrow, bro. And I remember all the years of Triple H putting that fucking knee in between the crossings of a steel chair, stomping on it, flexing on it, jamming on it, grabbing the ropes, and like, you know what I mean? Back
Yeah, like
shots he was
I
taking with the
agree
fucking
with you
things,
physically.
pause.
He physically he's not like that doesn't make sense. But this
Yeah.
nigga put himself in this position. After Mania last year, there's a segment with Cody Rhodes. He
Yeah.
said, I'm coming back for this title.
Yeah.
Nobody told this nigga to say that. Then just in October, he showed up after a Roman and Cody match, and he basically hinted that he was still coming for it. Then today, you come and you're hugging Cody Rhodes. Do you think the audience is stupid? You think we're not gonna complain? Like this doesn't make sense story wise.
Yeah, but you heard what he told him at the end, right? He said, "Tell Mama Rose I said what's up." Like he's still taking digs at the dude. You didn't hear that part?
I seen the nigga on IG Live taking shots at Cody Rhodes. Devontae, did you see that part?
But I mean,
On the Rock's IG, you can see. You're gonna see the clip on your timeline. That don't make sense.
it'll hit.
That don't make sense.
I think that most of it, what he did today, was like a little bit of Triple H's way of saying thank you for all the shit that he helped stir it up and bring back. You know what I mean? Because regardless with him and Cena, right? You can say the same thing about Cena. Cena being gone, it sucked when he left, right? But he transitioned into movies and he started doing so well. Fucking Peacemaker is one of the most famous anti-heroes in the world right now. Everybody loves that show. Everybody's hanging on the fucking cliff waiting for season 2 to drop. Like Cena's star power is at a high right now too.
But okay, here's John Cena. Right, John Cena don't be half-ass doing it. He said multiple times, "I'm here full time for this last run." That nigga did the press conference after the episode today. Yeah. He don't half-ass nothing.
That's the problem with The Rock, though. Is like he's so much everywhere that how can he be anywhere for full time?
This, let me do this, let me do that. Like, no.
He's a dabbler, bro, and it's not because he's dabbling in a bad way, but it's just because he has so much going on at all times. He has a foot in the door everywhere, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. In this case, it's very much a bad thing. Like I said, I thought today was just a layup for him mostly.
And he left last time in France. He was a heel. You can't come back and now you give us a baby face promo. Like, what do you?
He should honestly still be a heel because I thought that he was at his best when
nothing
he was a heel in wrestling, bro.
Nothing about his character says babyface. Like, it wouldn't even be believable if he tried to be a babyface because of what has happened. Especially with him being on the board of TKO. Like, bro, no. Nobody would buy it. But he did say he's going to be on NXT tomorrow. Because obviously his daughter is the GM at NXT, so I get it. But I'll see what he does in that aspect.
Yeah, this was just a layup to pay homage to the previous things that happened in his career, and I think it was a way for Triple H to just uplift the dude and like give him a little bit of props, right? Because the whole segment was really about him giving praise to his mom and that, giving praise to his dad, giving praise to his family. And then we cycled out. Hey, look, it is what it is, dog.
Bloodline. The Ulafala, Anoa'i family, the royal family of wrestling. Yeah. 50 cousins. Like, enough. God
55, damn. Probably.
Like that, and then all this, the dick riding that they doing for themselves. Like, oh my gosh, it's the hottest wrestler ever been. We get it, nigga. Damn. Get to this shit, bro. All these commercials and shit. That's my big annoyance. Like, this better not be a regular thing.
No, I don't think it'll be a regular thing at all. I just think it was the first, and he probably so happened to be in town. So, Triple H hit up that line and was like, hey, look, you mind coming in tomorrow and doing it? Because, look, the convenience of him already being here for the Golden Globes, his family and shit was already in town. So it was a one quick call, like, hey, look, can you do this? Ain't no problem, brother. I'll be there tomorrow. All right, cool. What are we going to do? Well, here, I'm going to give you 15 minutes. You take over, do what you do, get the people going. All right. Well, who do I come after? Well, I'm going to start it off. You're going to follow right behind me. Okay, got you. That's that 1, 2.
I guess the feel is just like, like when you're an avid watcher or something, it's like the Super Bowl. Like, they did so much hype about the show. You have to appeal to a casual audience. But dog, even WrestleMania was not as annoying with some of the ads and shit they was doing, bro. Like, you gotta appeal to a casual audience and do things you don't normally do. Fine. But it was a bit overboard. I'm like, can we get this is still episode of Raw, y'all. Like, can I get some segments? Come on, man.
Yeah, it was come on, y'all. For sure. I would say that was probably one of the dislikes of it was just like there was more matches we could have squeezed in there, but we didn't get as many as we thought we were going to get, especially for a 3-hour segment. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? 5 to 8, bro. We sat from 5 to 8, and we only
gave us 4 matches?
4 matches and only 1 women's match, bro. Like, what? I'm complaining.
And, bro, we only had 2 bangers.
Yes,
2
that's
bangers
true.
out of 4 matches, so I'm lying.
And one of those bangers was what? The women's match. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we doing, bro? We gotta start pumping. Like 3 hours didn't used to get wasted like this. Like I remember and it's the old me talking. I remember Raw starting, and it literally would be fucking Stone Cold driving up to the stadium in a fucking beer truck, or he's pulling up in a fucking truck with hunting gear on, pops out the truck. This motherfucker's got a bat and a bow and arrow, and he's looking for people. Like, we used to start off
Yeah.
on
Okay.
a
That was
on
what
a
was
on a
missing. Okay.
high.
Yeah. We had promos with Triple H and Rock, which I'm not counting. Them was commercials.
Yeah,
Hulk
yeah,
Hogan shit, that was a
over
commercial too.
commercials.
The only real promo we got was John Cena. The rest were backstage segments and vignettes.
Yeah.
Like my
Oh, and
nigga.
don't forget the pass off for the video game. Don't forget that. They did a little snippet while he was walking down the
Oh
hallway
yeah,
for
bro.
2K25,
Yeah.
boy.
I'm like, for example, the world champion of Raw, Gunther, has a vignette. Why is this nigga not here? This is the premier Netflix and your world champion. Is not here. He just does a vignette. That don't make sense to me.
I don't know, bro.
They easily could have had him interrupt John Cena. It would have made perfect sense.
1000%. 1000%. They could have had anybody interrupt John Cena.
I thought Logan Paul was going to interrupt the nigga.
Yeah. That
he was
made
there.
even
Logan
more
Paul
sense.
was there in the crowd.
That would have made even more sense, which is crazy that he was in the crowd and just quiet after his whole fucking snippet promo was the fact that he doesn't do what he's told and he's never been about sitting behind anybody else. And I just do what I want and I've always been ahead of the curve and blah, blah, blah. Insert Logan Paul bullshit.
He's lucky he's fire. Like, and it's so annoying that he's so good.
Is he? Because I haven't watched it. I can't watch a single match. It fucking bothers me. It bothers my soul.
It will make you so mad, but the nigga is so. I think he's only had like 10 matches, but you watch like, bro, there's no way he's just good. Like, yes, he's really that good, bro.
Well, I mean, he was never not athletic. That was never fucking.
But bro, it's not just. It's just not that. It's just like if you just watch a match, you're like, hold on, like you would be in like the S tier, like the whole roster. If you was here every week, that's how crazy it is. I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's a reason why we can't do that because we can't have that. We can't have that. That can't be allowed. Period. Not in my wrestling. Not on my watch. Not in this day and age. Nah.
Like people are like, people don't even consider him a celebrity wrestler no more.
He's just a wrestler. Nah, that's mouth, really, bro. Puke in mouth.
It's really crazy, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, I'm like, I can see him being a world champion. If he's there full time, he's gonna get a world title.
Please no, for the love of God.
Bro, it made me sick too, but here we are, bro. Here we are.
For the love of God, no, bro. Like, don't throw me out the window like this. You know what I mean? Like. There's better things for us to do with our time than to have to go through that. And I feel like we can find better ways of utilization than that. That just seems like.
But it's like obviously the outside shit is why he's just a natural heel.
Yeah, like bro, because he's not an idiot. You know what I mean? Like you can say what you want. Like he may be you may think he's a jackass. He's a jackass for sure. But an idiot, no. If anything, Logan Paul knows how to get a crowd fucking going. And again, to the old adage of Vince McMahon, when you come out and people fucking boo you, you got the heat.
Oh, okay.
He knows how to drum up heat. Always.
One more question about this premiere. A lot of people assume because it was moving to Netflix that it would warrant a more mature rating, and be more reminiscent of the Attitude Era. They're expecting more raunchy shit. Do you think they should go in that direction or the way it is?
I think it's going to be like I think it could be one of two ways, right? How I see it. One, they can never, ever, ever truly go back to the Attitude Era. That shit is dead. They can dabble around. They can allude to. They can kind of stick their pinky toe into that water. But that water is forever tainted by the fact that when you think of Attitude Era, what do you think of? You think of all the shit that went wrong. And all the evil things that happen outside of the ring because of the Vince McMahon documentary, all that work and shit that happened. You think about all the deaths and everything that's just taking place from like injury standpoints, both mental and physical. Like there's no way they can fully commit to going back in that direction. Now, granted, there is space in that statement. Like there's a gray area there. You know what I mean? You don't have to hit Attitude Era pinnacles, but you can bypass some of the lows, if that makes sense. You don't got to shoot through the house. You ain't got to go through the roof, but you can get a little bit towards the ceiling.
Like when you say Attitude Era, I'm like, do y'all mean y'all want niggas to cuss more? Y'all want it to be more
What does
adult-ish?
the attitude mean to you? Because the attitude to me was like the I don't give a fuck about hierarchy era, right? That's what it was to me. It was like, we don't care that you're our boss. We're about to fuck you up, Vince. We catch you in the back room or we're fucking out doing whatever. It's on site, right? Or I got beef with so and so, right? The Rock and fucking Stone Cold walking past each other, and you fucking nudge me. Oh, you nudge me? Okay, well, let's start this shit right here, right now. Like, that's what the Attitude Era meant to me. Like, we were gonna go back and forth, and there was no backing down. Now, to some people, the Attitude Era was all about the degradation of women, right? Like, oh shit. Or like, that's what the Attitude Era meant. It was like, oh, we're gonna see a bra and panties match, or they were gonna do the fucking lingerie matches or whatever it was, bro. That shit is not coming to Netflix, dog. Little kids are on this platform watching Bluey, bro. There's no way.
And dog, okay. And like we're saying, like the peak of popularity. I'm saying, do you think they were be able to get this many advertisements, like this level of where they at? Also, we talking about the good. Like wrestlers are getting paid more than ever. They don't have to work nearly as much. Yeah, no. Maybe it's because of how profitable it has gotten.
Bro, what did they say? They said that, like, in the McMahon thing, he said they were working
over 300 days a year.
Bro, yes, they used to over 300 days a year they were wrestling, right? Then from that, he said they went into like basically 7-month contracts. Like, you'd only have to work 7 months out of the year. And your days, like, you got like there was like big events that you would have to be attendance to, but then even in that there was like different markers you could hit. It was like football incentives almost, right? Like if you get 1,000-yard rushings, you don't have to go to the playoffs. If you pass for 60 touchdowns, you don't have to go to the Pro Bowl. Like, they had built in a bunch of let's call it safety nets for wrestlers so that they weren't stuck dealing with the previous bout of both injuries and or like issues that arose from the fact that they were on the road so much at all times. And I don't mind that, bro, because like if you want proper entertainment, you have to give your stars time to materialize proper entertainment, right? We can even equate this all the way to like the Marvel movies to make it more like palpable for people, right? If I'm flooding you with a Marvel TV show 365 days a year, how much Marvel do you want to see the next year? Zero, bro. You don't want to see none. I'm burnt on this shit.
Hey, bro, they scale back house shows like to a crazy amount.
Yeah, and like I don't.
And bro, even like in this era we have with like house shows, niggas record everything.
Yes.
So I'm like,
yeah, exactly. You're gonna get yourself into trouble on a whole nother level, bro. And you've seen the sponsors they're bringing in, bro. We're talking about $million to $1 billion sponsors, bro. The mat today, the center logo was what?
Yeah, what's your favorite beer? Yeah.
No. Fortnite, bro. Fortnite. Okay. Fortnite was the sponsor of today's fucking whole broadcast, right? Like Fortnite, right in the middle of the fucking map, as big as you can get it. Fortnite. Who plays Fortnite, Kobe? Little kids.
Yep.
Little kids. We ain't getting no naked matches no time soon,
Chief. You're just not gonna get that. And also, I do feel like, just me personally, when I'm watching stuff, I don't need you to cuss every month. So when y'all do cuss, it hits hard.
Yes,
it's hard.
It adds element to it.
You're like, oh, this is a serious movie. When you overload every week, because we talk about the Attitude Era, not just the shift, but the Attitude Era. It did not last 20. It was a 5-year period.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know if people think the Attitude Era was like a decade. It's like, no, it was just a short. It was a short period. Why? Yeah. Because you're doing 2 weekly shows weekly.
Yes,
you're going to run out of shit to do. You can't top everything.
No,
that you done did.
And they were trying to, bro. We literally went from lingerie matches and fucking crazy ass promos. We had Vince McMahon get beat up in the fucking hospital, right?
Yeah.
A Stone Cold pretending to be a fucking night nurse. We had Stone Cold in the fucking Budweiser beer truck, right? We had like Vince
Yeah.
McMahon get blown up in a fucking limousine. We had
Wait, right there. Can
yeah.
stop that limousine because that's ruthless aggression. That's the era that I really grew up watching week to week. I feel like the
Okay.
reason why they did so much crazy shit is because it was following the Attitude Era. You
Yeah,
then pretty
and they had
much
to do it.
did like a bunch of funny shit, like a bunch of crazy. Now you're like, let me think of how. Let me think outside the box.
Bro,
That's where you get them weird ass storylines like fucking dead people and like sex assault and like shit story like battling God.
Mark
like
Henry and Marvelous May.
Yeah.
Like shit like that, bro.
You get that because you're trying to do too much.
Yes, bro, because they ran out. Bro, Kobe, I remember specifically that they were doing this whole, I don't know if you remember this shit. They were doing this whole thing where Ken Shamrock, I don't even know if it was his real sister, but Ken Shamrock had a sister named Ryan. Okay? Her name was Ryan Shamrock. And they were doing this whole beef thing between, it was like a three-way beef between Ken Shamrock, Will Blackman, right? Because Ken Shamrock had came over from UFC or Pride Fighting, whatever it was at the time. He came over to fucking wrestling, and his thing was like, I was a real fighter. This is like chump change to me. You know what I mean? And Will Blackman was considered a real black belt, like martial artist. And so his thing was he was a real fighter, right? And then on the other side of the ring, you had fucking Val Venus, who was a misogynistic fucking a ladies man, a womanizer, bro. Yes, yeah. You had Val Venus coming out, baby oiled up, bro, in a fucking half towel showing mid thigh, talking about hello, ladies.
Like Val Venus, the Godfather, the whole train.
Bro,
I grew up. Edge and Lita had a live sex celebration. Like,
brother,
my nigga, like we don't need. And obviously, okay, you see, you talking about how the women are just very good at wrestling and shit. They don't need to do anything for y'all to think they sexy. Rhea and Liv did not do anything, and people are going to be drooling over everything they did. Just off rip. You don't need to do nothing.
If I pull up Twitter right now, there's 49 zoomed in photos of Rhea Ripley pinning fucking what's her name to the fucking mat, right?
Yeah.
Or like when she gave her the her fucking finisher, or like eyes that they gave each other when she tried to rip her or tried to flip her over the outside the ropes, right? And they were looking at each other's eyes. Bro, there's like 12,000 fanfic pages being written right now about that relationship across the internet and Reddit and everywhere else. So
you don't need to do crazy shit to make the women appear like sexual creatures.
We are men as a society. You could be walking around in a nun outfit and we'll call it sexy. It does not matter, bro. If you got aura, you got aura, and we're gonna fuck with it. Period.
Hey, thank you. This is what I'm saying. Like, I get people are very nostalgic about the era, and I get, and that's why niggas was
dead, bro.
Niggas was kept on doing. That's why they brought out Undertaker, brought out Hulk Hogan, and shit. I'm like, my nigga, enough.
Yeah, no. Another thing I think people are underestimating is the fact that Stephanie is around now. She's never gonna let that shit come back. You know what I mean? Because regardless of what we may think about the era, you got to understand that shit was traumatizing to her. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about family trauma that's being stirred up every time that shit is brought up.
Like, bro, last year when Vince did that fuck shit to get back in and she stepped down, like shortly after, I was okay.
Yeah, she doesn't fuck with that. And nor should she, first and foremost, right? But you gotta remember, she had to watch women of great wrestling talent and fucking capability and the ability to be charismatic on a microphone and rule a crowd be turned docile, dumbed down, and shoved into a box because they didn't fit the narrative of what was going on, or they had to be viewed as just sex symbols and not wrestlers. So now that she's finally broken those girls out of that mold, now
you're
that
never
they're
going
finally
back.
Free, yeah, no, but we're not going back.
Because
And I'm okay with that. Like, you gotta
we got
evolve. You know
decades,
what I mean? We're not going back to that
we got
shit.
decades to make up for. And like we had Michelle McCool in the audience. People always mention her like she was ahead of her time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, she was like 5-7 years too early.
Too early.
Because
Yeah,
bro, she entered the Rumble like she's one of those cameo people. She was just in the crowd last year. She hopped over. She had Uggs, and she was still hooping in the Rumble. I'm like, damn, hold on.
And
Like,
Uggs?
yeah, I'm like, wait, hold up. Like, she could probably still wrestle. She felt like it.
Yeah.
And my
Real,
like, she
bro.
was just like the teacher character. Like, obviously, she's married to Undertaker, so like, he always be singing her praises. She like, damn, like she would have so many classics if she was in this era. And that's sad. You can say that about a bunch of people. Like Trish and Lita had a little run last year. Trish, she had her first steel cage match. Like you wasn't putting women in those steel cage matches.
Yeah, hell no.
Like she
Not
was in
back
a
in the
money
day,
in the,
if
she
she
was in
was
a
in a
money
steel
in a
cage,
bank. She was in a money in a bank match. She's
bro,
never been in no
if she was
ladder
in the
match.
steel cage, she would have been the fucking the ring number chick in the steel cage.
Yeah.
She'd have been walking around with a sign. She'd have been in brawn
Yeah.
panties, and that would have been the extent of her involvement in the steel cage. Like we had this whole era of women that were talented but got wasted. So I don't ever want to see us go back
Trish
to
was
an era where we
still
do that.
hooping. She
Oh
was
yeah,
late 40s. She was still. So imagine Trish in her 20s and 30s.
Bro, yeah.
What
The
she could have
first thing
been doing.
Stephanie McMahon said, bro, when they started talking about women in the era was that she knew so many women that were better wrestlers than the men, but they were never going to get their chance to shine. And she's never going to let that happen again. Nor should she, bro. What's the first thing I complained about today? The fact that we only got so many women's matches because there are so many talented wrestlers there, and you want to see that shit go down. I want to see all the fucking smoke. I want to see it all play out. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Rhea. I like seeing her matches because she can fucking ball. But I want to see everybody ball. I want to see everybody get their chance at the limelight. I want to see all the shit. Let me see firsthand why or why not you're not getting the proper time you deserve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like they really dropped the ball because in that finals that they have next week for that Intercontinental title, one of the women is Dakota Kai, and she's like a streamer too. So I'm like, you don't think this is a good opportunity? Just like just the crossover fan base is like, bro, come on, man. Lyra, like NXT to Raw, like best rookie besides Tiffany. And also Tiffany, you don't have her talk. I guess she's on SmackDown, but I'm like, bro, like y'all can, like this is Raw on Netflix. Like there's a chance to push and elevate motherfuckers a little bit. Come on,
push, bro. Because I'm telling you, like we've had multiple discussions, but like there are so many women that are in wrestling in some capacity that need to get more spotlight and pushed up to the big leagues, and there are other women that definitely need to go down.
Yeah, and then just watching these big ass commercials and promos that are commercials in my eyes, I get it, but I'm like, cut some of this shit out, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot.
They could be back to business after this, but just on the first, maybe I was expecting too much, but that shit just annoying.
No, I don't think it's a lot. I think it's reasonable to expect a lot from the fact that we had the first Raw on fucking Netflix, and we thought we were gonna get more.
Y'all been talking about
am I saying
it
was horrible? No, it wasn't horrible by any means. I thought it was damn good, but I would still. That doesn't take away from the fact that I still would like more from it.
I'm saying if that Raw you just watched, say it was just a random week, it was like premiere, would you be more critical of what you watch? Would you be like what is like? Say next week they had like a similar type of show where you'd be like, all right, y'all.
Yeah, I would be more critical next week for sure.
For sure.
If we only get because next week we're probably not even getting a women's match, right? So you already know I'm gonna have something to say.
No, it's gonna be the finals for the
Intercontinental.
So yeah.
So then they'll probably get a pass from me because we're gonna get to see some people hoop.
And
at the same time, it's like if we're talking about a random fucking Monday 5 weeks from now, and we're still on the same we're still fishing in the same fishing hole with the same bait and the same bowl, I'm gonna be upset, bro. Because I'm like, all right, like, are we pushing the boundary? Are we going forward? Or are we on a rinse and repeat, process? Because it's literally what you said, right? Each night in the process throughout the year is supposed to be a one-uppance, right? We're supposed to start the You start the year off in sort of what eventually becomes a crescendo. We're going to
Yeah, so
start off real
this is
low,
like the season
and we have
premiere.
to work our way up to that peak. So
Yeah, this is the
that's
season
fine
premiere for
for
WrestleMania season. So
yes,
that's why my
yes.
expectations were high. I'm like, okay. And I was talking about Triple H earlier. Maybe that's why people online, including me, are more higher on Shawn Michaels, who books NXT for a couple reasons. One, his men's division is pretty ass. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna blame him for that shit. But his women's division NXT is crazy.
No,
Like the women in NXT, they have a better roster. I'm dead ass. They have a better roster than Raw does in the
no,
women, which
bro.
is fucking crazy.
You already know who I'm gonna say. Who I'm gonna say, Kobe?
Jada,
Yeah,
Jada,
1000%.
and she has it all, so she
Bro,
probably will
and
get called
why?
up too.
Like this, my mind, right, is like I'm pulling the hat off because I'm getting stressed. Okay, like I don't understand, bro. We're talking about era of women that could be dominant, bro. You want to talk about athletic? You want to talk about good on the mic? You want to talk about easy on the eyes? Everything, star
Everything.
power, the mouth, the attitude. She's got the figure, and I'm not just talking about like a full-figured woman. She has she has the build to be one of those top tier wrestlers, like we talked about with Rhea, right? Imagine her and fucking Rhea going at each other, bro. Rhea doesn't have to pull her punches because Jada's a thicker woman that could take the physical abuse of the ring. Whereas, like, you've seen the difference between her finisher on Dominic versus her finisher on what's her name?
Live.
She has to pull up on Liv a little bit because she's such a smaller stature woman. If she goes full force on Liv, bro, that's like
You
a
injured now.
grown man slamming you. You're fucked. Yeah, you're getting injured, and then now you're out for portions of the year. Now, what are we gonna do with our storyline? You know what I mean? But someone like Jada, bro, that's the easiest money. This is the easiest fumble that is currently taking place in wrestling is the fact that she's not moved up yet.
No, there's somebody who's even more ready. You'll probably, I don't know, girl, but Roxanne Perez.
No, I've
She
seen Roxanne Perez. I've seen little snippets of her.
she's like just a walking banger match, banger match, banger match, and she's hella young. I think she's only like 23 or some shit. But
Bro,
like she been a champion for like a whole year straight, just nothing but banger match. She's on a smaller side, but I'm like
but I
she
mean,
needs to go.
we made it work with Liv, right? If you can make
Yeah,
it work with Liv, it's not like you can't make it work.
no,
And we've made it work with smaller women
there's like
before.
five of them that I read. Like Soul Ruka, she could move up.
Sol
Honestly,
Ruka she can ball.
because she could hoop. There's these
Yep.
two that are like known outside of like America, like Stephanie Vaquer and Julia, who got put in NXT just to get used to America and like how
Mm,
WWE people fight. But they're gonna get moved up soon. But Sean has all these women and he books them accordingly. Nobody ever complains about lack of women wrestling or segments because he
yeah.
books them like all equally. Like the only complaints I see with the women's division is yo girl Nikita getting screen time, and they're like, bro, enough with this shit.
Yeah, man.
Because like I'm saying, like the sex appeal shit, that's cool, that's good on the eyes, but everybody got sex appeal and they can hoop.
Yeah,
So you
that's
can't.
look, and that's just it, right? We're at a point now where, like, back in the day, sex appeal was all you needed to get you over the hump and get you extra screen time. But the women's division is so stacked beyond belief. You have to have talent. You got to be good on the mic. You have to be able to cut promos. You have to be believable. Like, you have to have like gusto to your character. And then the easy on the eye shit is just the cherry on the top, bro. It's just
Yeah,
the cherry on the top. Cause Liv is cute, but she's not like otherworldly beautiful, right? And like
yeah,
she still gets the time because you can hoop in the ring, she can get on the mic, she makes it believable. Like that, there's so much more to it now that you have to bring to the table.
and then
Nikita
there's
is
like
slowly
pretty
falling off,
privilege
bro.
can, yeah, pretty
Look,
privilege can
I don't
help,
even
but
watch wrestling, and I question Nikita's commitment to wrestling because every time I fucking see her, she's cutting a commercial for like, oh, she's got a new fragrance coming out. Oh, she's doing new
she
T-shirts.
got an
Oh,
album.
yeah, she got an album, brother. What are we doing? How
Hey,
you
bro,
got time to be in the
she
studio
tore her
but you ain't
ACL multiple
rehabbing?
times, man. For both of them things.
Hey, look,
She
I seen
younger than
Willis
me and got
McGahee come
two
out.
knee braces, man.
I seen Willis McGahee come out and get some get back. Okay, so she can make a comeback if she wants to. The question is, how dedicated are you to the comeback? Because it feels like she got a
Dude,
snippet of her star
I
power, and then she ain't worried about it no more. That's what it
I
feels
get
like.
the injury thing. Obviously, it will halt anybody's momentum, but just beyond that, like on the mic when she talks, like it just annoys me personally. Like when she talks and backstage, I'm like, do you
She's
really
not
talk
great.
like that?
Yeah,
Like I guess
she's
she's
not
from
great,
Bad
bro.
Girls Club and shit, so maybe you really do talk like that. But like when a
Is she from
non-black
Bad
person,
Girls Club?
yes. So when you see her post like that, don't like think have that in mind. It might not be bad, so it might be one of them other reality shows, but in that vein. So I'm like, when I see, I'm like, when she talks to them, I'm like, are you putting on a black scent or what
Nah,
is
she really
this?
talks like that. Her
Then like
man
I
is black.
can't picture her like doing a back and forth with somebody
No,
and
no,
me
no.
believing it.
Her man is of our skin tone,
Is
so
she
it's
also a
not.
wrestler?
Nah, nah,
Okay.
nah, nah. I think he's like a basketball player or some shit. But he's not. He's not like a fucking NBA player. I think he was like. I think he was like in the Europe League or some shit like that. I forget. But I've seen him a couple times on some of the shit that she posts, and I'm like, it's always the same dude. So if you're seeing the same guy consistently, I'm pretty sure they're in some sort of relationship somewhere or some forth. But I just
Like, bro, she been in NXT since I think 2022, where they put her over Lash Legend inexplicably. But how realistically, how long should somebody be in NXT to you're like, nah, man,
it
like
doesn't
you ain't
have
got
much
it.
longer, bro, because
Like,
you got to think about it like this
yeah.
too. She's already like torched both knees. Like she before she when she first got in, I think she already had a knee injury that she was dealing with, right? I think when she first came in, because she already had a brace when like the videos I've seen of her signing her contract, she already had a brace on her leg. So she was already dealing with rehab. Then she got in and she hurt the same knee she was rehabbing. And okay, so she rehabbed that one. She came back and you seen the fall where they tried to do too much and not even jump. It wasn't even doing too much. It was just that she was in an awkward position. Old buddy came off the top rope, kicked her in the back. Her leg didn't the other leg didn't take, and then boom. Now all of a sudden you're fucked. You know what I mean? Now the other leg is done for. And she still had to fucking wrestle, but you're hobbling around on it, you know what I mean? Knowing exactly what happened. And I think that in itself is a
That's gonna fuck you up mentally as an athlete.
yeah, it's a testament to the fact that like okay, as somebody who's suffered through sports injuries, right? The first thing the doctors talk to you about is when you're rehabbing one side of your body, because one side gets injured. For me, the first time I ever got injured is my right shoulder, right? Tore my rotator cuff. They're like, you got two options. You can have surgery, but you're going to lose range of motion, but you'll come back sooner. I'm like, well, I don't fucking want to lose range of motion. What's my other option? They're like, physical therapy. It's going to hurt. It's going to take longer, but you can build the muscle up stronger, and then hopefully it won't happen. Because what was wrong was that when you tear a rotator cuff, it's usually because one of your shoulder muscles is stronger than the other ones. So when you land a certain way or you slam into something a certain way, that muscle overcompensates, right? And your other muscle isn't strong enough to hold it in place. She spent all of her time rehabbing the
Rehabbing one
same
knee,
leg for
and
fucking
then
4
you come back.
years,
Yeah,
and then you come back and that left leg ain't as strong. And then all of a sudden, someone fucking kicks you and your fucking foot's extended the wrong way. Boom, there goes the leg. It's the same shit. Same thing, bro.
and dude, I was just talking about the talent. If you did like a top 10, just NXT women on the roster, I don't think niggas will put Nikita in the top 10, bro.
Nah, you
On the
wouldn't.
mic or in the ring or a combination. And
No.
that is alarming.
If you had to rank them, if you had to rank them competitively from 1 to 10, right? And you put the women of NXT up there, I don't think she makes the top 10 in the ring or outside of it. Because not only that, but like with the injuries, right? Like she's moving a little bit rougher around the ring because now you're second guessing your movements because one, you've been hurt multiple times in the ring, right? So you're second guessing your movements, but you're trying not to. As well as the fact is you're trying to limit your movements in a way that keeps you protected, right? Because she had a fucking knee brace on, bro, or a leg brace on when she fucked up the other one.
Like,
So
bro,
it's
I
like,
think the real telltale sign they might not call like NXT motherfuckers up yet, which is kind of dumb because we just had a fucking premiere. It's a
yeah, just
3 hour show. call niggas up, bro. Like
Yeah.
enough with the shit. That's one. Second, during the Rumble, they usually have some of the NXT call ups as cameos. I know for
Oh
damn sure she's not touching that Rumble, and
no,
she
she
better
can't.
not touch. Like you can't roll no motherfucker out. Like we're at Lucas Oil Stadium for the Rumble, bro. You can't roll.
Hey, home of the combine. How many of you are drafting a running back with 2 bad knees? Who's drafting a running back with 2 bad knees?
Like I said, but
Nah, bro.
just saying to say, Shawn Michaels know what he doing with his women. Triple H just needs to catch up.
I
That's
mean,
it.
Shawn Michaels, he's got Instagram goggles on at all times. My guy is he's the IG god right now.
I don't like that, but yeah, thank you for your service.
Hey, yes, sir.
Good.
Appreciate you, Pippin. Catch you on the next one.
For sure.